more. I'm just here for my stunning good looks and winning personality. Right?
That's all. You're just...
Are we ready? All right. So let's call the meeting of the Community Policing Committee together on March 9th. It's 2:00 p.m. We'll do a 1 depending on which clock you go by. And let's call the roll.
Mayor Minto.
I'm here.
City Manager Wendy Kaserman.
Here.
Sheriff Captain Katra. Here. Santana High School Brian Wilbur. Here. Santee Chamber of Commerce Alma Alvarez.
Here.
CASA Rebecca Brandstetter.
Here.
Linda Roach.
Here.
Dr. Mark Foreman.
Here.
Mike Aiken.
Here.
Steve Stellman.
Here.
Danette McLagan.
Here.
We do have, I don't believe I forgot anybody, we do have a quorum present, Mayor, of voting members.
Great. Thank you very much. So that takes us to approval of the January 12th and February 9th regular meeting minutes. Hope everybody's had a chance to look at those. And if they have, then I will take a motion to approve both of those at the same time. Do I hear that motion?
Motion to approve both minutes?
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Linda. Okay, all those, is there any discussion? Are there any speaker slips?
No, sir.
Thank you. Please vote. I'll call the roll for vote.
Mayor Minto.
Yes.
City Manager Wendy Kaserman.
Yes.
Santee Sheriff Department Captain Katra. Yes. Santana High School Brian Wilbur.
Yes.
Santee Chamber of Commerce Alma Alvarez.
Yes.
CASA Rebecca Brandstetter.
Yes.
Committee Member Roach.
Yes.
Committee Member Foreman.
Yes.
Committee Member Aiken.
Yes.
Committee Member Stellman.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously with voting members.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Are there any no votes? Any abstentions? Just want to make sure. Okay, let's go to updates on Neighborhood Watch and crime prevention. What do you have for us?
Perfect. Hi, everyone. So we have had some interest in Neighborhood Watch at this moment. Nothing that is scheduled, no current running Neighborhood Watch programs, but we are seeing people start to pick up and ask questions about how to get that started. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more of that. At the station, we have been busy focusing on all of last week. We were going through our elementary schools that invited us for Read Across America. So we had a big participation with our schools doing that, as well as doing things like Station Tour, and we were at Fido Fest. We'll be at the Bunny Trail. So that is currently what we are working on. We are also focusing on doing scam and fraud presentations and outreach at a lot of our senior community. So we'll have we have one of those coming up next week. And that is all that I have.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you touch a little on what the process would be for forming a new neighborhood watch group?
Yeah, so whoever is interested would reach out to me at the station or call your local station. In this case, you'd call the Santee Sheriff Station, ask for crime prevention, which would be myself, and then with a resident, I would just coordinate a good time. We would need a location, so we would need like a resident to offer up a house, their space to do it, and then we go ahead.
Field interview on the person so that the next deputy that comes along, and then they get the people that visit those businesses, commercial or otherwise, and the people that are trying to run a business. A homeless person there, and they don't know what's going on with that homeless person. It could be somebody that's just absolutely docile, never caused a problem, or it could be somebody who is irate, one of those folks that you see that's always out there yelling at himself or yelling at that imaginary person. Well, that causes problems in the community. And so what we did is we created a new ordinance that basically said that if you're a business owner, you have the same right as the property owner. You can tell that person to leave, and if they don't leave, you can call the sheriff, tell them I told them to leave, and then they can be subject to the trespass. And that seems to be working because we're seeing less and less people that are hanging out, living on business properties and things of that nature. So all those things together are helping. It's an opportunity to provide them with a service. And we've known from our partners that it requires repeated times talking to a person that's out there that may be struggling from whatever the reason might be. We hear about mental illness all the time. We hear about drug addiction all the time as causation for all this. Now there's two questions that can be asked out there. Is it homelessness that caused mental illness and drug abuse? Or is it drug abuse or mental illness that caused homelessness? Well, the answer is yes on both sides. When you bring them together and you find out what the causation is for those things, maybe you can treat that causation instead of whatever the symptom is. Because homelessness, in many cases, is a symptom of something else. And that's what we've done, is we've taken a look at that and we said, how can we do better? Because I'll tell you what, if you go to El Cajon or San Diego or La Mesa or Lemon Grove or so many other communities, even LA or wherever it might be, they talk about all the money they put into homelessness. But what do we see? More and more homelessness. We also look at the kids that are affected by that. There are kids that are homeless out there too. And we want to make sure that they get the assistance they need because we don't want them to become adult homelessness. It's a very unique approach. It's a very unique approach. And believe it or not, the mayor actually wrote this document. And believe it or not, the mayor actually wrote this document. Wasn't staff. And I know that's unusual, but it did happen. Only because I was very concerned about the story that we're telling in Santee, the story we're telling in the county and other places. And, you know, there's a lot of great partners out there. They all cost money, though. And so we're doing everything we can to get grant funding and others wise so that they can help. And this isn't just throwing money at it. This is actually using money in order to make things work. And with that, I'll take any questions that I have. And if anybody out here has a question, I'll take that too. So, anybody? Yes.
I don't really have a question, but I would like to make a comment about the.
No, just questions. Just kidding.
Okay. Well, this is actually a happy comment because I have, as the other hat that I wear is the coordinator of the East County Homeless Task Force. And I have been preaching the good news of Santee all over the county and to the municipality, the other municipalities in East Region. And the thing that I'm just going to give you the perspective of the nonprofit and the network, the wider network. The thing that I think that I love most about this is that the city of Santee partnered with other governments along the San Diego River. And you recognize the municipality boundaries, but you worked across them. And you took that 30,000-foot view that the San Diego River is a system. And you took a systemic look at the problem and the solution. I think that's what was key. I think what really I saw at work in the Santee Homeless Working Group was the good folks on the city staff were, shall we call them, voluntold to be there. And so there was guaranteed cooperation among the various city departments. And when they're talking together with the partners, then things happen and information, useful information is exchanged, actionable information is exchanged. The thing that you touched on was the consistent and rigorous and patient but insistent enforcement of the prohibition against camping in the riverbed. And here's what I hope other jurisdictions take home with them. You were able to leverage the partnerships that you created and nurtured and invested in through the Santee Homeless Working Group to understand the bigger picture and to apply that knowledge, and you successfully use some of that knowledge and experience to apply for other grants that will help the hazardous. I can't think of the name of that grant, but it was getting rid of hazardous things in the riverbed as part of public safety and first responders. And what that's going to do is make the riverbed healthier and safer, which means Santee is going to be healthier and safer. And I just think that my hat's off. If I had a hat, I'd take it off right now to the way that the city approached this in a really systematic and determined way. And you can tell from the results that that's the way to roll.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Mike?
I want to second what she said with our hats off to you, because the golf course obviously is one of the local businesses that was affected by homelessness, going back in time for a long time. But it was almost a point where it was a regular, weekly, certainly sometimes daily negative interactions with homeless people along the riverbed. And, I worked closely with Eric Hayes, your camp coordinator, I forget his exact title, but he's been on top of it. And the golf course sits in a unique situation because half of it's in Santee, half of it's in San Diego. So where his boundary ended, he connected me with the San Diego PD, his counterparts with San Diego, and we were able to really make quick action. And we actually feel it. So you see, it's one thing to see the numbers on the sheet, but it's really tremendous. We were having almost a fire almost every day, like you said, and almost all those fires were within a stone's throw of the golf course. So it was a lot of anxiety on us every time I'd see smoke. We were panicking and trying to work with the Santee Fire Department and have a contingency plans on how to act. And luckily, those number of instances have significantly decreased. And I just think you get the combination of all the things you talked about has really made a noticeable difference. So my hat's off to you as well.
Anybody else? Mark?
Two things. As I was listening and you were teasing out and describing the differences between sheltered and unsheltered, and then later on I thought I heard you make a comment that one of the primary objectives is to keeping persons housed. Mm-hmm. Is housed the same as sheltered? And then there'll be a follow-up to that, back to the numbers that you've reported here.
Yeah, it's really a interesting dynamic. I'll give you an example of how, when I mentioned here, it's not perfect. My brother, he turned 62 years old and said, you know what, I'm tired of apartment living and stuff. I want to go and I want to travel and I want to see things. So he got out of his house, he went and got himself a 21-foot trailer. And that's the way he lives, moving from place to place in a trailer. Well, believe it or not, he's considered unhoused, or he's considered homeless. So it depends, and I think that's a federal definition of homelessness. And so when we see some of these things, we kind of have to take them at what they say they are, because to me that's not unhoused. Somebody who is, for instance, couch surfing, which is a lot of college students anymore, well, they're considered homeless also. They're really not homeless. That's just the way they live these days. So that's why it's not perfect, and it's hard to answer that question, because even though you might be surfing on somebody's couch, you're considered unhoused.
Okay. So in that, on the data, the chart that you showed, what jumped out at me, and it continues to just kind of scream at me, is sheltered went from 18 to 0, 0, 0 for 3 years in a row. And I'm really curious as to if we're trying to keep them from being unsheltered, and all of a sudden the sheltered ones go down to 0, it's like, where did they go? And did they land on somebody's couch and start couch surfing? Are they missing the count? Or did something happen within the system to not gather that data? Because when something drops to 0, it immediately just jumps out at me like there's an anomaly here.
Well, that is an anomaly. And the easy answer is what you said. Did they get missed in the count? And the answer is generally yes. And the reason why is because they're not there anymore. And so, I mean, they don't obviously leave a forwarding address, so we don't know if they went to a couch or they went to a home. But what I can say is that what we find is our partners, like a great partner is the El Cajon Transitional Living Center. They will reach out, they will help find placement, and they do a really good job of getting people into short-term programs and then long-term programs. And many of those people stay on to be volunteers or even employees of the shelter. And we find that sometimes that happens even like with the rescue mission. Now, when you and I were coppers, many years ago downtown, the rescue mission was a place that we went and we said, okay, you guys get to stay here for the night, and that was it. The room wasn't too much bigger than our chambers here. Today, the rescue mission is a very vibrant organization with a lot of services. Downtown, down in Chula Vista, they have a National City, they have what they call the Lighthouse. And it's a place where people go for 12 months into a program, and then a second 12 months they go to a little bit different area. And they're looking to put a lighthouse somewhere in East County and one in North County. And what those do is they add to the assistance with housing. And something that's very interesting is that the rescue mission has really taken a philosophy of it's not about money and not about housing. It's about getting people into permanent lifestyles that include housing and jobs and things of that nature, because that's where it makes a difference. And that's why some of those numbers we can't capture anymore. And that's why there are zeros. People have gone into some kind of program even, or housing, or somebody came in that was a family member, said, oh, we found Marky, and, he doesn't have to live on the street anymore. We can help him out. And so they're gone. But nobody comes back and tells us that, you helped so-and-so, and now they're not your problem anymore. So that's why it's hard also to identify that one.
Okay, thanks. The second question, probably a little easier to answer, more direct. As you identified mental health causing homelessness or homelessness causing mental health challenges, it makes me think, does PERT participate actively on some of these projects as they're going out into the riverbed and contacting the homeless and stuff? Is PERT present as part of the team so that if there is a mental health issue that presents itself, they have that resource right there, in addition to the other resources that are out there?
Well, it all depends on what they identify, because there's always somebody that will contact them first and then come back later. And if they require something like PERT, they will. One of the things that we also do, and I kind of forgot about this till you mentioned this, is we actually, as one of our partners, is County Health and Human Services. And so we'll go out to Big Rock Park, or we'll go to, Mass Park or something with services, mental health services, dental services, other health services, showers, and possibly clean clothes and things of that nature, so that people can get that assistance also. Because sometimes that when they get all those assistant measures, they feel a little bit better about themselves. And so they'll start talking to people and giving information. But what I talked about, the intertwining of the different issues versus mental health and drug addiction, because the McAllister Institute, for instance, is part of our work group. And so they're also in a position where they help with identifying needs for people and getting assistance. It is a very vibrant, very hardworking group and a lot of great partners. So that's how we're able to get some of these things taken care of.
So the answer is no?
No, the answer is
Or only if called.
right. It's because it's case by case, because they don't. There are times when they are assigned to, with a deputy, and then they go out. But yeah, but it's PERT being thanks, a psychological emergency response team.
Yeah.
And it's more of a case by case basis.
That's what I was envisioning is more of a proactive engagement of, PERT's present as these other teams are out there, and having that extra layer of resource available could have a potential, but recognizing also that it's a limited resource that
Right.
is potentially expensive also. So, like,
Yeah, you know where they do a lot more work, if I remember correctly, Captain, you might be able to find this out for us, but I think they address more of the people that are on public and business properties and things of that nature, because they're more readily seen. They're the ones that actually come out and you see, staying in one area or yelling at, the sky or whatever. So that's where the ones they go to most often.
Yeah, our PERT team rides with our deputies, just like other local law enforcement. They team up with the deputy, and they either have a caseload that they go and they visit, and people in the city or the county, wherever their PERT caseload is, and they go and make follow-ups with those people and make sure they're on the right track. As far as being part of the homeless outreach teams that go into the river bottoms, they're not directly part of that, but could be called if they encounter somebody in the river bottom that's having a psychiatric emergency. At the time that they contact them, that resource will be pulled in. But like the mayor said, it's more so where it's not an emergency at that moment where they're suicidal, homicidal, or something of that nature. It's more of they need some psychiatric services, and those can be provided by Health and Human Services or another at another time, but that's not necessarily at that emergency time.
Anybody else? Come on up, Carl.
Couple comments and a question. I agree. Homeless, at least visible homelessness that I've seen, has really decreased drastically. This morning I walked from Cuyamaca to Carlton Hills on the south side of the river, in the riverbed. There's a trail. There was a lot of what looked like abandoned camps. So I'm not sure who goes in there and cleans that stuff up, but I did notice that, or maybe they're active and they're just not there. The question that I have, though, is there's a couple of the people that I see regularly, when they decide they want to stop, they sprawl. And they sprawl all over the sidewalk, into the bike lane, and I saw one guy who was camped for 2 days in the bike lane. Tent and everything in Lakeside. Surprisingly enough, across from the sheriff's station. But so should we be calling somebody, and I'm going to assume that the answer to that is the sheriff's department, when we see something like that where they're literally have taken over the sidewalk, the bicycle lane, or whatever?
Yeah, that would be the non-emergency number too.
Okay.
Yeah, you see something, you say something. The squeaky
Right.
wheel gets the grease, right? And you never know what type of situation that person might be in. And so by a member of the public calling at that time when they see something that doesn't look right and they call us, it's a great opportunity for us to go, make contact, assess the situation, and see what, there may be enforcement action, there may be psychological services, it may be just a straight homeless situation that we need to offer services to, and then we can maintain that follow-up. But the community, it's that partnership, right? It's the community-oriented policing partnership. We can't be in every spot at every time, so you are eyes and ears in the community, and it's a force multiplier. So absolutely call. We're open 24/7. We don't mind the call, and it may just save that person's life.
Okay, all right, yeah. If you were to ask Aldo, your predecessor, you'd find out I do tend to be very squeaky. But overall, I think Santee has done a fantastic job with the homeless. So I just thought I'd get that out there.
Thanks, Carl. Anybody else? All right, then, we're going to move on. Okay, let's go with item number 5, community core values. I think we had something on that today, didn't we?
Yes, so prior to our last COMPOC meeting, I had the opportunity to meet with the subcommittee members who worked on the community values, and those community values for the benefit of the committee. were accountability, community mindedness, and respect. The council did ultimately adopt those community values. And I think over time, if I understand correctly, I think when the subcommittee was meeting, there was an emphasis on unity and diversity. And I think over time, as maybe there's been some shifts in federal priorities and even council priorities, we've moved a little away from like a DEI type effort with diversity and equity inclusion, and moving more toward how can we incorporate those community values into things like community art, culture-related programming. And so when I met with the committee, they thought it might be helpful to go through some of the events that we've done, and I can talk about them and the things that are coming up as well. This goes back a little bit in time, but we did do a community celebration that was held on April 13th, 24 at the Santee Historical Barn. I think there were various community resources and outreach booths, as well as multicultural and youth performances. So incorporating some of those values into that event. There was a Discover Your Community and Tutu Fun Run that was held March 15th of 25 at Town Center Community Park East West. Again, bringing in some cultural performances and community values focused activity, interactive art displays, community art resources, and the Momentum Tutoring Youth Business Fair. We've also implemented, I don't know if people have seen it around town, but utility box art program. So 4 of the boxes completed along Mission Gorge were done in June of 25. 2 of those 4 boxes actually include the community values. And then it sounds like at the COMPOC meeting in June of 25, special event staff presented a Discover Your Community event summary to the committee. And then we do have the bunny trail coming up. I think Jocelyn mentioned that at the end of the month. So we're looking to incorporate some cultural programming and art into that event. We're working on additional utility box art installations. I don't know if this committee is where the former manager did pull together an arts working group that meets. So we're looking at the arts and entertainment neighborhood that was adopted as part of the town center plan, and how can we ultimately incorporate more arts and culture into that district that I know council is very interested in seeing come to fruition. We're not there yet, but it's a long time vision for the theater parcel and the town center area. So with that, that's my report out.
Great, thanks. Any speaker slips on that?
No, sir.
Great. Comments or questions, Mark?
I really appreciate the depth that you went in providing that recap. So thank you for that. And I want to observe also that I underlined it while you were speaking, Mayor, that one of the things under the ordinance update was a compassionate engagement with public safety. And that gets to the heart of, I think, what it is that you were just briefing on. Is I don't know if it really matters what words we use to describe it. It's more of a, how does the city engage with the public, and can we do it compassionately, regardless of, and even the comments that the captain was making before, that we never know, and to be able to do that compassionate engagement kind of captures a little bit of everything, the values that were articulated before, and even if we want to use the old terms of DEI, it's compassionate engagement is the one thing that it'll always amount to. So thank you guys. You guys are doing a good job.
Great, thanks. Linda?
I would, first of all, I'd like to express my appreciation for your taking the time to meet with us. I know that we gave you a lot of information, and we appreciate that you took it seriously. And then when we asked you to define what next steps might be and give us a summary, I really do appreciate that. And not to put more on your plate or James's plate, I'm just thinking the city of Santee has done so much in this regard. Let's toot our own horn. And some of the things that you just mentioned, I think it would be great within the COMPOC web page if you just said, here is what community core values looks like to residents and folks that come to Santee, visitors to Santee. This is what we're doing. So I think it would be helpful to do that, because very often that is many strangers' first introduction to the city of Santee. And to know that we take seriously the manifestation of our community core values. This is what it looks like. This is what you can come to expect when you visit our city. I think that would be helpful. So definitely toot your horn.
You know what, Linda? The problem is that so many of us, we go through our jobs and we do them, and we don't expect anybody to come up and pat us on the back. So you're right, we don't really toot our own horn, so to speak.
Well, look at it this way. It's a marketing tool.
Yeah. If we don't say it, who will?
It's a way of marketing the city of Santee.
Exactly. Good point. Good point.
I was actually thinking I would give the work to our marketing team, so James and I don't have to do it.
Delegate.
Steve, did you have anything?
Just to second or third what the others have said, and also I'd love a follow-up. You mentioned some future-facing things. I'd love a follow-up report on those, just to keep us up to date on how this is continuing to live in the city.
Great. Anybody else? All right, then. Thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead to item number 6, communication from committee and staff members. You know what, I'm going to start down here on the left as always. Ivy? That's all right.
But nice to meet everyone. Yeah, I don't think IPS has anything at the moment, but.
Just so everybody knows, David Shorey has moved on. He won't be part of the committee any longer, representing IPS. And it's Ivy, right?
Yes, I'm Ivy. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself, but I'm a new prevention specialist at Institute for Public Strategies. I've been here a little over a month, so I'm very new, but yeah, enjoying it so far, and starting to get to know all the communities, which has been great. So.
Great. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to call anytime. Everybody's been here for a while. They'll be more than happy to catch you up best they can.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Becca.
I do have a few announcements. The first one I want to tell you about, if I can pull it up on my phone, is that CASA is sponsoring, through its youth programs, a Critical Teen Issues Forum. This week, lucky Friday the 13th, it's going to take place at the Cajon Valley Union School District Boardroom from 4 to 6. It's a resource fair with local youth-serving organizations. There will be presentations on mental health, detection and resources from the county, a presentation from our student leaders, Connect for Change, about burnout, a community conversation about mental health led by our Stand youth, and free food and raffle opportunities. And it's open to any and all high school students and their families who would like to learn more about it. And it's your favorite price to get in the door, which is free.
Free food, I'm guessing steak and lobster.
Absolutely, always, always, always. I wanted to also let you know that the East County Homeless Task Force is having our Zoom and Learn on Thursday. And we're going to be talking with some folks from CalFresh and Medi-Cal about changes to eligibility that are coming down in stages. Some have already begun, some are coming, about who will and will no longer be eligible for Medi-Cal and CalFresh. There will be some repercussions to our food pantries and some of our other community-based organizations here. And so after we hear about that, we're going to have a brainstorming session. I will get that information to you so you can post it if you would like to. And that brings me to my third thing, which is a request for updates to our ecassist.org online resource. If there are food pantries that serve Santee that we might not know about, please take a look at ecassist.org. You can look it up under Santee for food. And if we're missing something, let us know. I think the need's going to grow, and we want to make sure that we've listed all the good folks in the city of Santee who are doing what they can to help their neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Alma.
At this time, the chamber doesn't have any additional comments or announcements. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Annette?
Nothing today, thank you.
Great. Linda?
Well, we're at that time of the year where we start talking about that Santee Pride Walk and Pride Festival The date has been selected for that. The location will be the same at the Santee United Methodist Church parking lot. The walk will start at 9 o'clock with the festival going from 10 to 4. So we'll have vendors, food, entertainment, and we're in the process right now of obtaining all of the necessary permits for it.
Great. Thank you.
May 30th, Saturday, May 30th.
Steve.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. A couple things. Rebecca, do I have a flyer or anything at my school for that event coming up next Friday, or somewhere I can obtain that so I can get the word out to high schoolers? Thank you very much. That's a target audience, I would assume. Real fast, we at Santana won the girls basketball championships in Division IV in the CIF. Wrestling is the league champ this year on the girls' side. And yesterday we were second, or over the weekend, second in the county in the academic quest, missing by 6 points of going to Washington. The reason I announced those things is because I think we want you to know that we're doing our best to keep kids occupied and off the streets and being successful. The other thing is come by Santana and see the construction going on our new auto body shop. It will rival anything in the state. So we're excited about that. The one thing we are dealing with from a policing aspect it would be that last Thursday, of course, was the 25th anniversary, March 5th, of the 2001 shooting. And you may have seen in the news that Mr. Williams was denied parole a year and a half ago, but then recently given the law now saying that a 15-year-old would have been tried in juvenile court rather than adult court and could not have served beyond age 25. The courts have said that he might have an opportunity to, under that law, be released. We have objected, of course. I still have at least two staff members who one is a student and one is a first week student teacher were both shot at the time, a number of other staff members who were there. So every time this rolls around, it impacts us greatly. Summer Stephan has come out against any opportunity to retry, and our superintendent has written a very nice letter that I did send out to the Santee families, or Santana families anyway, voicing our support for her and her efforts to make sure that if he's not released at this time. As many of you may know, I was then at Granite Hills 3 weeks later, running toward the shooter as a police officer told me to dive, and I dove to my left, and he shot him from over my shoulder. So it's very impactful to me, I suppose, every time it comes as well. You saw our sign decorated on Thursday out front, as people still do, and it's still highly remembered in this community, and we would come out and oppose any opportunity for Mr. Williams. While I'm compassionate to his being 15 at the time, we still believe that a release from jail would be inappropriate. So.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Nothing else.
Great. Wendy?
I don't have the information yet, but Rebecca, in follow-up to your comments, there's a regional city-county management association that happens once a month, and we did have presenters from the county that were talking about the changes with Medi-Cal and CalFresh. And I had asked them to provide a list of current participants by city, just so we would have a potential magnitude on the city of Santee. So I'm waiting for that information, but I will let you know when I receive that.
Michael.
I want to thank our amazing sheriff's department for quick action last week. We had a unfortunate incident where a drunk driver was able to get his SUV out on the golf course and go for a extended joyride. Luckily, we had no significant damage, but the quick response from Astria and your traffic units and took him into custody, and we're well policed in the city of Santee, and I say it over and over again, and I really mean it. So,
Chris.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. This is my first meeting, so I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, I'm very excited to be here. My name's Chris Catra. I've been in Santee since the early 80s. I've lived and worked out here for I've worked out here for the last 26 years. About half my career has been in the city of Santee or East County related, and I am very excited to be here. But this is my hometown, so we're going to take care of it. My son goes to Santana High School. He's a senior there. Hopefully you don't know his name. I think he's a good kid. But this is my community. And this is my community, and we treat everyone like family here, and that's the message that we're going to lead with at the Santee station. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's okay if you're squeaky. It's all right. I'd rather know than not know. And hopefully we could be Johnny on the spot. Sometimes we may not be, but hopefully we can. And again, the deputies that are out here are committed to the community as well. I got a great staff at the station, and I look forward to working with them and all of you as well. Just a few things to share. Like our traffic units, we had a DUI checkpoint over the weekend that was very successful. Sometimes they're not because they are publicized and there's a lot of flashing lights and there's people can avoid them. But just some things to share at that checkpoint. Over 900 vehicles went through that night. And 57 were sent to secondary. They get sent to secondary for various reasons. Either they're suspected of DUI or there's some type of, usually a issue with their license or something like that. And out of those 57 that went to secondary, 5 of those vehicles were towed, 14 cites were issued, 9 unlicensed drivers, people driving through the city without a driver's license, 3 DUI arrests, so that could have been either 3 lives saved very easily. And 2 of the additional arrests were either drugs, and then we had an actual stolen vehicle. Someone thought they could drive a stolen vehicle through a motorcycle through our checkpoint. Didn't work out so well for them. But it did make the community safer that night, getting those drunks off the road. And then whatever we deterred as well from doing that. I just wanted to touch base on the e-bikes or e-motos. Those were a big deal, right, in the city. There's still, people sometimes don't know the difference, or they just call it in e-bike, but it's actually an e-moto. And there's a big difference between an e-bike and an e-moto. An e-moto is like a Tesla. It's a Tesla, but just with 2 wheels. All the requirements to drive an electric car or a regular car apply to an e-motorcycle. And of course, none of them have that. So I just wanted to share just some stats. We're still in the warning phase of the city ordinance on the e-bikes that don't apply to e-motos. E-motos are very different. But just some quick stats, we've received in the last 2 months 14 calls from the city, from people in the community calling on those bikes.
13 of those were from Carl.
Were from Carl? Okay, keep it up, Carl. I appreciate it. And out of those 14 calls, and an additional 5 deputies that either saw those people on those bikes and made those stop. But there were 2 citations. Those were for those e-motos. And it's good to get that enforcement, that education out there. So continue to call on that. None of them should be whipping around the town 40, 50 miles an hour. Just real quick on our crime stats. I thought this was really good to share. From January to February, assaults in the city, those could be domestic or just simple batteries, went down about 28%. So that's a good reduction just from January to February. So we're seeing a good downward trend in 2026. And with property crime, that went down 17%. So it's going, we're going to keep it going down in 2026. Regarding to property crime, a significant arrest recently was, if you've noticed, it's been on social media and out there in the news, the 2020 Jeeps. They're stealing the push-button Jeeps that are out there. So we're encouraging everyone, hey, I've never taken a stolen vehicle report where somebody had a club or some type of steering lock device. It doesn't always deter some, but it's a good deterrent. And we don't take, like I said, too many stolen vehicles where people have put that on there. So taking that simple time to put those on, I have them on all my cars. It's a great thing to not get your vehicle stolen. But somebody tried to steal it. They actually did steal it. Our guys got in a pursuit with that person, ultimately took him into custody. Unfortunately, the vehicle crashed, so the Jeep owner's not probably too happy with that. But that's going to lead to going down that chain, that bigger fish, to try to get this ring of people that are doing this in not only our city, but other cities. And that is it. That's all I have.
Well, you forgot the part that the guy that was running in the Jeep was not that good of a driver.
Oh, he was a young kid, 18 years old, and crashed into the old El Cajon police station, that's now a hotel, and took out 7 parked cars. So he's got some explaining to do, unfortunately. No, he was not a good driver.
Yeah, the hotel people weren't very happy about it. But
no.
How are the catalytic converter thefts? For a while there, that was a really big thing. Is that still an active problem?
I'm glad you brought that up. It's still a problem nationwide.
Right.
It goes in waves. We bust a crew and they go down. We don't have any reported, and then they'll go back up. Somebody will get out of jail. But a lot of those crews will come down from the north, and they come into our city, steal the property, and then return it to fences that are outside of the city limits. So those still happen. They're hard to prevent because there's nothing, you can't put a steering wheel lock on your catalytic converter, but you can do some things. Doesn't prevent them from stealing it, but we do offer the engraving where you can engrave your catalytic converters with an identifying information. Just helps in the recovery and the prosecution of those cases when we can, because you can't tell one catalytic converter from another. But if it's got your driver's license number on it or something on there where we can, or your license plate, then we can run that and determine whose it was, get some cost recovery to the victims and whatnot. So, but it goes, it's not systemic, but it is still happening.
Is there a short, quick answer to how those unfamiliar can distinguish between an e-bike and an e-moto?
It's hard. Basically, the e-moto has no pedals. It's just foot pegs. It looks like a motorcycle. Your e-bike is one of those class 1, 2, or 3s that they have pedals. So if it's got pedals, it's not an e-moto. That's where under 12, they can't ride them, the e-bikes. So an e-moto it looks like a motorcycle, but sometimes you can't tell. It's hard to tell, and I don't blame anybody for calling it an e-bike or an e-moto. It doesn't matter what you call it in. Call it in, and we'll figure it out.
Lieutenant? Anything else? James, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
All right. Speaker slips?
Not currently.